Hi guys, are you there? Are you there guys? I don't know if you can listen to me. Hi guys. Hi everybody, are you there? Hi, can you hear me? Yeah. Hey David Phillips, my friend, how are you? Fine? Hey Werner, what's up bro? Star Wars Geek .net, hi. Sacramento of Carnage again, hi. Norberto, Eric Swinson, hello, what's up? How you doing guys? Good? Well, we are 16. Michael. Hi everybody. Well, I want to start with a big announcement. Several things that I want to tell you before starting with the core of the video. The thing is that during this month and the next month we are going to do more streamings like this. We plan to keep the idea of combining both formats, both video formats. But the thing is that I have a US tour coming at the end of this month until next month. So I will be traveling around the US for 20 something days, and that's the reason why I will not be able to record more things that as I would like, and that's the reason why we will do some more streamings like this, so we can compensate the lack of some other videos. So I hope you understand this, but the thing is I cannot be recording anything in the room of a hotel, so that's the main reason. That's the first thing we want to tell, that it will be a small variation about the kind of content and the number of each content that you will receive during those months. It won't affect the quality of the content, we think. There are many interesting things that are coming. Indeed, David is working now in the edition of a very interesting content that I cannot reveal what it is, but it's something very interesting. Also, we will produce, or we are producing actually, some videos, some more like technical videos or videos of basics that will be very valuable for almost everybody, but especially for the beginners or the intermediate students. And well, that's the first thing. Hi, Sin Rockwell. Hi, the bag. Hello. And another thing I want to announce is that finally, after almost 2 years of really hard work, I will be able to announce my book that will be released for the English speakers. Will be released in the Adepticon. It's a book that has been produced by Scale Editions, who is the faction of Scale 75 that is dedicated to printed content. Thank you. And well, the book is almost here. It's something that is difficult for me to explain in a few words, and even more knowing how long I explain the things that I cannot sintetizar. Ábrete el synthesize. To be more, I cannot be more concrete, more summarize, no? Sintetizar.
Summarize, sí.
Sintetizar.
Synthesize.
So I will show you a sneak peek of it because I have the book here, and well, it's something I'm very proud. I feel nerves like if it was my first child, which is almost the same time to produce it. It's a hardcover book, A4 format, 85,000 words. More than 800 pictures, and well, it's not the typical miniature world book. is more something similar to Taschen or all those editorials that works with artists, and is a very interesting travel through my mindset, my philosophy, my way to understand the processes. There are many chapters that describe many different things, and well, I think that if you give it a try, you will not regret, for sure, because it's a book that has been done with a lot of care. The design, the layout done by the designer of Scale 75, it's amazing. The quality of the book is top quality. It's more like a collector's book, so it's not the kind of books that we are more used to see in the miniature world, that looks more like magazines somehow, with all my respect to this, but this is something different. I had the chance 3 years ago that Scale 75 contacted me, and they proposed me a very risky project, and I agreed 8 months of work to be able to vomit all the things that I wanted to say in a proper way. And well, the book is here. That's the first time you will see. That's the book. As you can see, it's not a magazine. It's a proper book. I don't know what do you think about the cover and the image, but I'm very happy with it. And many people, many lovely people has collaborated in this book. I have the beautiful words and comments by Roman Lapat, Mike Blanc, Sangeo Lee, Francesco Farabi, Jose Manuel Palomares, Mar Masclans, Bolomir, Antonio Peña, Julio Cabos. I don't know if I'm missing someone, but it's a very special project. Let's see how it works. That's the reason why I'm so nervous. This will be released in Spain within 2 weeks, and then, as I have said, I will be also in the Scale 75 stand in the Adepticon. So if you want to use the chance to come to say hello and to have my signature, you will be more than welcome. And Terry, hi Terry. It looks like my dream. Yeah, I mean, indeed, that's a dream come true. Something that I never thought I could do. And this is thanks to Scale 75 that they give me this chance. Beside the fact that I have been work for them twice, and that not always we get along really well. The truth is that this time they offer me a fantastic opportunity, and the owner of Scale 75, he was super interested on my thoughts, on my philosophy, he was very convinced that this kind of journey that I have started more than a decade ago should be explained in a book, where you will be able to travel with me inside of all these factors that has bring me to this point. The gallery is impressive. It's I never thought that I had produced so many artworks, and there is not only figures, also drawings, sketches, illustrations, well, many interesting things that if you are a fan of my work, you will definitely enjoy. And there are many insights inside of my way to understand the art where we are involved. Also analyze of several important pieces in my career from the point of view of the composition, the colors choice, the process itself, even explanations of how I set up my studio and why. Well, it's more like a very deep journey inside of my career, and well, I'm very proud of it. It's been a super hard work, as I have said. It's not easy to start something when you have the blank paper in front of you, or the blank screen, and as I have said, it's 85,000 words. So well, it's something very deep, and it's something very professional in a way that how we have worked with it, with a lot of passion, with a lot of effort. And well, I just encourage you to take it a look, to try, because I'm pretty sure that no one will be disappointed in one way or the other, because it's a very complex project, and well, it's this kind of collector's book that I have in my shelves, speaking about many other artists that I admire and that I have been following all my life. And finally, well, I'm doing something similar, and this is something to feel proud. And hopefully, if it works well, we have plans to produce another kind of content, and probably the kind of content that also some people, including myself, we are expecting for the future. So well, if you give it some love and some support, you will also help me to produce more good, professional, and interesting content. So yeah, I mean, yeah, signed copies to the Patreons. Well, I will definitely be signing copies in Adepticon, and I will also have my own bunch of copies to sell through my website. But for this, we will have to wait a little bit, and I encourage you to go to Scale 75. It has not been released yet, but it will be released in a few days. So stay tuned to my social media. I will announce this on Facebook, Instagram, and also Scale 75 is already starting to advertise it. So if you want to help me by sharing this, I think it's something important, and hopefully this will be a kind of content that will be the beginning for more books like this from other artists that we also, or me myself also, I follow, because I would like to see a book from by Roman Lapat, for example, or Sang-Yeon Lee, or people like this, you know. And well, this is a very risky project, because obviously a book like this is not cheap to produce. The quality, and you will see when you have it in your hands, is it's top quality, and well, this hopefully this will be in the shelves of at least some people. So well, I'm nervous, as you can appreciate probably. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I don't know, I'm a little bit overwhelmed because the book arrived to my studio 2 days ago, and I'm a little bit speechless, because it's that moment when you are reading the same things that you wrote 2 years ago, and after so long waiting for the product, the impact is quite strange. And well, I don't know, let's see, what do you think when you have it in your hands? I'm pretty happy with the result, but obviously now we have to wait for the sales to see how it works, and crossing the fingers to have some luck, and to see if the people receive the content in a good way. And let's see how this kind of works, this kind of job or work works in the miniature world, which is not the most stereotypical kind of printed product that has been released already. It's a different thing, but I'm pretty sure that at least it will be very beautiful in your shelf. So well, anyway, yeah, the text will be in English. Well, the text is already in English. as I have not seen the English version yet, because they sent me the first batch of copies. Well, they sent me 5 copies, so this is the only thing I've seen. But I know that they have spent a lot of money for a good translator. Indeed, they hired a translator. That's a funny story, because they had to hire a translator that was a Madrilean English speaker that has been living in New York for, I don't know, like 2 decades. So the guy is completely bilingual, but he can understand the slang of the Madrilean Spanish. So then the meaning of the text is more accurate, and it's more attached to the original intensity of my words, let's say. Terry is asking me, the price point. No, I cannot tell you the price point because I don't know. I don't really know what will be the price, sincerely. But, well, the thing is, I don't think that this will be a cheap product, because it's a collector's book. And I cannot tell you, I mean, I guess I'm not allowed to tell you the cost of the production, but it's a really high cost between my income, the translation, the printing, the editor for the layout. There are many things. At the end, it's a work that have taken almost 2 years of work, so like 17 or 18 months of work, and that is the reason why it will be like a collector's item. So I don't know the price, unfortunately. I'm very sorry. Eric, I will get a signed copy at Adepticon. Thank you, bro. Thank you very much. Terry Cowell. Terry, what's up, mate? Some books read as a reference material, while others follow a thread-tested format. One of my fave books so far is Rise of Fantasy by JJ Barrena, because the book read like narrative. What can I expect from yours? Well, sincerely, the traveling through the book is quite easy. Indeed, part of this complex process was to give it to certain testers that they were external testers, people that don't know me, people that don't even know my work, to see if it was interesting. And the tests were fantastic. Sincerely, the results, all the comments were super positive, in a way that myself, I think I'm pretty good at being at explaining things with a flow, especially obviously if I explain things in my own language. With the English, there is always a barrier, because I don't have all the words that I would like to use, and sometimes I have to make some circles to get to the point, because unfortunately I'm not bilingual. But because this has been written in Spanish, the flow and the narrativity, it's probably the thing that I'm more proud about, because I never thought that I would be able to write something so deep and so extensive. As I have said, it's 85,000 words, which is a lot. And the thing is that when I started, indeed, the first month of the contract, I couldn't do anything, because I wrote many things, and then I come back, and I had I think maybe it's an interesting story. I had a conversation with my wife, and she ranted me. She told me that, Alfonso, you have to be yourself. You have to explain yourself as you do in a class, as you do in a demo, and just release yourself and write what you feel, and that's it. And next day, I started to write, and then I wrote like a possessed maniac. So yeah, the thread is super easy to follow, and I think that many people will find it very interesting. And also, it's a book that I highly recommend to all these people that want to try this as a profession, but also the people that want to know or to understand the motivations and the feelings of an artist, and how an artist arrive to a certain point related with his style, his philosophy, his attitude, but also technical things about how I conceive my works and why. Analyze from pieces that are milestone in my career. Indeed, there are a few of them, but especially one about the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan that where I explain all the composition and how I deal with the complexities of the work and how I arrived to that point. Also, there is a big part explaining the fact smoothness and why. There is also very deep study and research about all masters and how their philosophy had influenced me, and also using their words, obviously tagging them, to reinforce or to enhance the reasoning behind my words. And well, I'm super proud of it, sincerely. I think it's the best job of my life, so I cannot do anything else than encourage you to give it a try, because I'm pretty sure that you will be surprised, sincerely. Can we get it, my Lorify? Can we get it signed as Patreons for a fee? What do you mean for a fee? For pay? You don't have to pay me for getting a signature. Yeah, really. I don't know what I will do. Probably I will do. I don't know. I cannot tell you now anything because I still have to speak with Scale 75. Indeed, this is the first time we show the book. They have not shown it. I'm doing this because this is a closed circle, and this is for my Patreons. They will probably release the cover probably on Monday or Tuesday. And I still have to speak with them about the conditions, because I know I will have 200 copies to sell myself, and probably all these copies will be signed, but I don't know when I will be able to have these copies. So if you have the chance to meet me in Adepticon or to meet the Scale 75 stand in Adepticon, I will be signing there and drawing some flying cocks to everybody, and and if not, I still don't know. Sabrina, hey Sabrina, what's up? Nice to see you. You better have a copy saved for me. Yeah, sure, I will. I don't know if I will have for Steve, because I don't know about him since a while, but yeah, probably yes. Okay, guys, so thank you very much. Your support means a lot for me, and indeed, when I release it and when I announce it, if you can help me to spread this, because it's a book that, seriously, the amount of work has been huge and super tiring. And one thing that I must admit is that when you vomit what is inside of you, and when you have to go many steps backwards to explain things that maybe you were thinking 15 years ago when you started your career, sometimes those memories hurts a little bit, and it's difficult to put them in words. And I think it's a very risky shot. We are aiming a very risky target of public, because this is not the typical book that will sell 20,000 copies. We know that. It will be not a cheap product. It will be not something that you take it to the bathroom to read. It will be not, I mean, it will be a shelf book. It is what it is, it's a collector's item. So I know that they have done a huge effort financially, because beside the fact that most of you perceive Scale 75 as a big company, the reality is that they invested a lot of money 2 years ago, and they did a huge effort to fulfill my demands that were not so much in terms of money, instead of in terms of quality, because one of the things that I force them by contract is that it has to be in a certain way, and that the book has to be like this, like it has been. And they have done a fantastic job, to be fair. I'm quite impressed by the layout. I'm quite impressed by the final format. When I saw it 2 days ago, I was like, whoa. I never thought that I could do something so beautiful like this with their help, with them as well. But it's 100% myself. So I know that this will also create different opinions, but for sure no one will stay in a gray color. People will take positions and they will definitely have an opinion. It's not a book that you read and then you don't have any reaction. No, it's a book that that will have many reactions for sure. And then it's a matter of spreading it as much as we can to see if it can reach more people, because I think it's worth it, sincerely. That being completely honest. So. Miorify, sadly living in Germany, my well, I mean, if I go to Scale Model Challenge or maybe to another course in Germany, you can also ask for a signed copy and I will bring one for you. So that's also your option. Okay, guys, so let's start with the video. Oh, there's another thing that I want to say, that I will be, as some of you may know, I will be in Adepticon, and let me check very quickly. I will be in Adepticon giving some classes, well, many classes indeed. Let's see if I can find the page where I search for the courses. Okay, it's not here. Give me 2 seconds. Vale. I need 2 seconds, guys. Well, I don't know exactly where to search for it. I wanted to show something. Event list, maybe event list. Event list. Yeah, it's here. So, okay. So, well, I will be in Adepticon. You can find my profile here, explanation, blah, blah, blah. And then you can search for my name, going to info event list, and then you write Banshee and you will find this. Actually, well, okay, so it's full anyway. So, well, actually, I don't know if you are part of this group, but there is a very special course or seminar that I will do about how to paint a box art. Is focused on achieving, well, an insight to how I overcome a box art. So I will be explaining many interesting things there. And for this, one of the special things about this course, it was that that it will come with a limited edition figure, okay, well, that you will be working with. The thing is that I finished the figure like 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago, and the figure it has not been released. I will show you here because, as I have said, it's a closed format. And well, I hope you like the figure. I think it's a figure I have designed it to specifically to have different surfaces and different things to try and different things to practice. And this will be included in this special course. And also it will be a few more pieces to sell that will be sold in the Adepticon. And let's see if I have some spare figures at the end. Maybe I will offer to the Patreons, but it's still not sure because initially there will be only 40 or 50 copies. It's something that I have still not decided, but probably only 40, much probably only 40 copies. So it's a very real limited edition. Every figure will go with the number done by hand, because I don't want, I mean, so then if you see this figure with the number in resin, means that it's a copy. And so the number will be printed, or no, not printed, will be stamped in milliput or something like this. So you behind, obviously, so you will be able to see that it's really one of those 40 copies. And the figure is this one. So you are the first one who see that. I don't even show it to the Spanish students, because they will not participate in the Adepticon, so it makes nonsense. And that's the figure. It's a survivor. I wanted to do like a post-apocalyptic idea, and well, I think it's quite characterful, and I hope you like it. It has many possibilities. Indeed, I have my version already clear in my mind, and it will be a really interesting thing that if I have the chance to record it before Adepticon, then you will see it on Patreon, hopefully. Let's see. I don't know what you if you like it or not. Thank you, guys. So, well, I have other views, but well, I have selected. I like the contrasted ones. That's the bits, only 2 bits, super easy to assemble, and other views. Those has not been edited yet, you know, so is the resin is the first master. Is not even clean, it's not even prepared, but well, you're seeing this just for you. Anyway, I don't know, give me your thoughts. I don't know if you like it. Well, Sacrament of Carnage. I don't know if I will have some of them, because sincerely the class is 20, so 20 are gone already, and then I will have another 20 or maybe 30, no more. So probably they will run out quickly. I still don't know the price. Because I still have to make numbers, and obviously it's a limited edition item, and well, this will. But who knows? Maybe I will have the chance for this. ¿Dónde están los vídeos, tío?
¿Los vídeos de qué?
Los de la figura que
en el AC.
En el Lazy.
Claro. Invocatio. Process complete.
Vale.
Ahí lo tienes.
Okay, guys. So, any thoughts, any comments, something to speak about? Hey, Nor, ¿te gusta o qué? Well, thank you, guys. I mean, it's been a great effort to finish this, because sincerely, the last month has been crazy. I'm passing through a very difficult emotional moment, and also finishing the miniatures that you have probably seen if you are a part of the sculpting pledge. So I'm overwhelmed by work. Indeed, unfortunately, I will not be able to participate on the crystal brush. I had a very amazing project in my hands, and I had to refuse it due to the lack of time, because we are working every weekend, and I am completely burned out. So the US tour will be a milestone, and as soon as I arrive to Madrid again, I have to readjust my priorities, because that's not healthy. And yeah, I cannot continue like this. So there is the miniatures that if you want to see a sneak peek, is almost here. It's not finished, but and there's still a few changes. I don't know if you will be able to see something. but it's very cartoony. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy of how it's going. Indeed, this is the first time I sculpt in like 2 years, so it has been hard to come back to the sculpting mindset, to be more organized and to work in 3 or 4 different different elements at the same time to fit the schedule. And that's the reason why I had to reject that special project. That was a combination with Joaquin Palacios, and unfortunately I won't be able to bring it to Adepticon, which is a big lose for me. But well, hopefully you will see it maybe in Monte San Sabino or something like this. And do not doubt that if I finally do this project, I will record some videos about it because it's quite impressive. David Phillips, I assume you need to clean and assemble in the class. You don't need to clean almost anything, sincerely, because they are pretty clean. I will bring them clean, and assemble will be fitting and done. But maybe I will plan to, maybe if I have the chance, I will bring them primed. If I have the chance, let's see, because the release of the book is in 2 weeks in Spain, and I'm literally having no time for anything. But I will try to make it easier for you as well. There are a few things that I would like to speak about the priming for that seminar. So I still have not decided how I will do it, but well, let's see. Let's see. I still don't know. Let's see. This will be not really possible to get the whole forward. Yeah. Okay, guys. So yeah, there is always another show, but not a show that have an economical price. That's the point. And for artists, these things are important, unfortunately. But anyway, it's not always the priority. Shouldn't be always the work. Instead of sometimes feeling healthier and avoid troubles in your family life, let's say. So anyway. Well, guys, let's move to the video to analyze the video. If you remember well, last day we stopped at how to start creating the different volumes by a method of re-highlighting and then filtering on top. If you don't remember, if you remember it, excuse me. So let's move to the next step, that is already starting the texture. Okay. So here we go. Guys, we are 22. I need your collaboration, please. The more you ask, the better will be for you, for me, for the video, and for all the viewers that will watch us later. Okay? So there are a few guys that already paint really good. At least the ones I know, like Eric Swinson, like Norberto, like, I mean, I don't know some of the others, like David Phillips, people that already have a very, very good level of painting. So it's your time also to lead a little bit the students' side and start asking interesting questions. Okay, and do not hesitate to ask any of you guys, because the most simple question sometimes resolve doubts to someone that maybe is a little bit more shy, and so then we can collaborate and create some kind of online class where everybody is participating. Okay, so well, basically what I'm going to do, and I don't know, oh yeah, this was the part I wanted to show. Okay, these will be my brushes right now. As you can see, those brushes has been cut in a irregular shape in order to get different flat surfaces with different levels of depth. So then I will use this as a stamp to start creating texture. Is this the way I proceed right now? No, because now for me it's easier to do with a nice brush with a nice tip, and I go quicker by myself. But back at this time, I'm speaking about 9 or 8, 10 years ago, I don't remember now. That was a nice method to do something fast, because my tracing was not as good as it is right now. So if you're in this position, this could be a nice tool for you. You can cut your own old brushes to get this shape. And as you can see, there are also different shapes. Some of them are more narrow and more concentrated. Some of them are more open. And me estoy helando. Give me a second. Excuse me, guys. This is my pullover from when I started working when I was 20 years old in Games Workshop as a staff. So, long life to Games Workshop. So, let's continue. So those are the brushes I will be using in this process. And I will be using a mixture between this titanium white golden acrylic and this model color pink to create this texture. The key of this is that it will be a real texture. Because of the viscosity of the color, the titanium white, it offers me the chance to create real texture by stamping it, you know, while that one is a flat pigment, and that doesn't create real texture. What is the difference? This is like if you take something that is sticky and viscose, like, I don't know, like liquid chocolate, for example, and if you do this and then you separate quickly, then you place the clay, the pigment, and then you release the brush and you leave a real texture. It's very, very small, but it's something quite interesting because it will help you to create a more effective texture that will be easier to be seen, and also it will help you to filter on top without reducing that noise. Hey Werner, see you. Thank you for coming. Bye bye. Oh, tomorrow workshop with Kirill. Cool. Enjoy it. You will learn a lot about textures with him. So, as you can see, sorry for the bad, ¿cómo se dice el tiro de cámara? Camera shot, but I didn't know 9 years ago that this will be explained and shown in a Patreon. So I'm sorry for this, but you can see how I hold the brush and how I stamp very quickly and very firmly, right? And I will insist in the parts of the wrinkle where it gets narrowed to concentrate more texture there. And I will combine different brushes to get a more organic noise that is not so obvious, right? By doing this, you will see how the texture will be super readable from the very beginning. but it's not completely regular, which is the key of it. And I don't care about details. If I overlay on top, it's not a big deal. And I will start working on all the fabric, but especially focusing in the frontal part to throw or to drag the focus of the viewer towards one point, which is a key also for painting indeed, which is focus. Focus is the most, I wouldn't say the most important, but one of the main things that a painter should control, where to focus the view of the spectator, right? Guys, the more you participate, the more fuel you give me to give you better answers. So this is energy, right? I need energy. I've been speaking for 2 hours already, and now I'm speaking another language. If you ask me questions, then the content will be better, okay? As you can see in the parts where the color fades out and goes to the shadows, the feeling will be less because I will concentrate also less texture. This is my head. And you will see that the confluence of different brushes combined almost like randomly, you know, will create a very thin texture that is the combination of these different layers of very quick stippling at the end that is quite controlled because as the hair of the brush is shortened, has been shortened. Can I say this?
¿El qué?
¿Puedo decir has been shortened?
De acortado, dices.
Sí. Well, I think so. It's been shortened. That makes sense.
Shortened. Es
Yeah.
acortado.
It's more stiff.
Sí.
It's more stiff, the brush, and it doesn't dance over the surface. It's like a dry brush. It's similar to a dry brush, yeah. There is no dilution, yeah. Indeed, I mean, some people now are going to Bohum's classes, and he based his painting on something similar to this. So at the end, those are effects or techniques that any painter use at some point. Frank Berens, does it follow the same rules as cloth? Yeah. Can be done on leather as well? Yeah. Yeah, but on leather, obviously different colors and what kind of leather. We call it cuero vuelto, que no sé lo que, I don't know how to say it in English, which is the inner side of the leather. It's quite similar to this also. My Liorifi. Do you remember how many paint you have on the brush? More like when you will dry brush with it? It depends because I'm changing the load of the brush. I don't load it always in the same way. So I can also leave some mistakes, and these mistakes will be an overload that sometimes it helps to create more interesting concentration of paint. So I suggest you to not being very mathematical, you know. This is not science, this is feeling. You have to feel it, you have to know by yourself, you have to try yourself and you will take your own conclusions. But here is more or less like a dry brush. Terry Colwell, you mentioned the importance of focus. Does it start just mean light focus on other contrast? No, it means other contrast indeed. If you allow me, we move to another topic, which is like any painter and has to understand the focus. If we go to Caravaggio, for example, well, this is focus. No, this is a focus of light mainly. There are other focus, but this is a focus of light. But we can focus also through elements and contrast of colors. Like for example, here we have this green, which is a yellowish green, and we have this dark green plus purple that somehow it works like a complementary color to drive your attention towards the female, which is the most important subject. And indeed, the little kid is something almost invisible at first sight, because the focal point is really well achieved by Monet in this case. Or we have this is something that looks very simplistic but is super complex, that he is creating a very specific ambience just by a contrast of pure color, saturation and temperature. Everything is cold, everything is grayish, everything is cold, everything is desaturated, everything looks bluish, and suddenly he has this rich, oversaturated and smaller amount of orange. So it's a complementary color game. It's a saturated, desaturated contrast, it's a temperature contrast, it's a matter of size contrast, and then that's the reason why it drags your attention towards this point, to explain you the feeling. Otherwise, this will be just a grisaille, you know. So this is amazingly well done, for instance. Then we have Frazzetta, who is a master of contrast. He combines every kind of different contrast as well. Well, this is focus. Check that. Well, there are many. This is focus. Also, is a compositional concept as well. So focus can be any way to drag your attention towards one point, and also it's the way how we display figures or artworks. And this is the same topic I have explained in the Spanish streaming, which is that one, for example. Well, guys, if you don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me. Otherwise, you will go to hell. Because also we have published the winners of the Adepticon course, the Adepticon contest, and has been also announced the public voting winners as well. That was on Facebook. So then, if we go to the gold award, that is this super amazing step forward in the miniature world, no matter what many people try to bring it down, that's super impressive. And obviously many people ask me, but what about the background? Because the black background helps, which is like, yeah, and that's part of the concept of focus, right? The same as if you go and see this picture from Goya, for example, Saturn devouring his son. This is the Prado Museum has several floors. This is in the lower floor, which is the, ¿cómo se dice? El sótano. David, sótano.
Sótano. Joder, macho, no me acuerdo de nada.
Basement. This is like in the basement floor, in an environment that is super dark and creepy somehow, right? So they are focusing this with some lights that goes only to the picture to enhance the feeling, right? Because if you find this in a amusing park, probably all your kids will be super scared, but it will be lost in between the balloons, the people, the noise, you know. So at the end, also in miniatures, is really important how to display. And we are now in this moment of the miniature history where the display counts more than ever, because at the end we are entering in another field right now, which is the art field. And the same, like Eric Swinson is here, for example, the same as his piece is working so well with the black background. Obviously that works also without the background, but the background enhances, and this is exactly the same as having this with the proper frame in the proper wall, or having this. This is the aquelarre. This is another picture by Goya. Aquelarre is excuse me, guys. The Witch's Sabbath, the Coven. So this, which is pretty impressive if you see this in real life, it's super scary, it's grotesque, it's something ugly to see, which is the intention of the artist. That was the final stage of Goya, when he was also already deaf, and he was like, well, almost probably crazy. And this is what he transmit with this, you know, his inner demons, right? And that's something quite interesting, because the way to display this is so important, right? So I don't know if I'm able to find pictures of the Prado Museum where this is displayed, because this is not displayed like this. This is displayed with light. Check the difference between that and, let me find if I see it. 2 seconds, right? I was pretty sure that I saw this in a picture. Where is in a real picture? Well, guys, you have to trust me, because the Prado Museum don't display this anymore in a normal room. They are displaying it in a really dark room. So unfortunately, I don't know how to find it. Probably it will take more time that is needed. But what I want to say with this is that if you surround, well, this is not the, this is probably another gallery, because I don't remember this. But if you see here the difference of the display, here everything is going super dark, and the feeling is much more tenebroso, dark, right? Which fit or match better with the subject. And this is also related to figures, because obviously if we say, I don't know, people like Kirill Kanaev, how he displays his figures, it's very important to understand how clever is the artist to display the figure in order not to look better, in order to look how he expect what you're seeing the piece. Does it make sense, guys? Like, for instance, depending on your goal, for example, my goal with this is not to create an impact, because the impact, this figure was instantly sold. So the impact is for the collector, and the collector has this in his own case, and the case is completely satin black. So the impact of this, something so expressive and fresh in terms of brushstroke, something that is very ambiental. Can I say ambiental? Environmental, sorry. That is very environmental. This obviously will work much better with a dark background. Much better. Indeed, we can try. Like, for instance, well, when it opens, we will return. So my goal here is to show all the brushstrokes, show how it works really, because I want people to see the real work, because I'm showing this to my students basically. But when I have been let me do that, okay, very quickly. Pintura. Well, this is the case, for instance. That's already handmade and hand painted, all the textures. Bueno, esto, a ver. As you can see, this is how is displayed the piece, and I will show you. I think I have some tests with dark background. Well, no, but well, let's take one of these, okay? I have this, okay, that is not even adjusted. So to adjust it to the reality, it will be more something more like this and this. Well, this is a super quick adjustment, something like this. If I have this, you will see everything, and the contrast will not affect because this is a very neutral green, neutral gray, maybe a little bit too bluish, maybe, but it won't affect the piece itself. This is like if I place a canvas in the middle of a gray wall or even a white wall, right? But if I do something like quickly, forgive me for the bad edition, but if I just do this, you will see what I'm talking about. Oh fuck. Okay, something like this. Different, right? And what about this? Different, right? And it's not even clean. It's not even, because if I do the selection right, as you can see now, the colors pop up really well, right? So those are the different goals from the artist. You know, you can have this, or for example, another example of myself. This was a box art I did for Scale 75 many years ago, and here I want to enhance the painting, you know, and to give this feeling of dark environment and a character that fits well with this dark mood, a little bit sinister. So, and also here it's harmonized by the blue that is almost everywhere inside of all the mixtures. Everything has some blue, everything. Like, check this color. This is not some kind of like purple, crimson, something like this. This has blue. This wine red has blue. The green that is greenish, that has blue. So everything has been harmonized by blue. But then there is a complementary color game in cold temperature, let's say. So the temperature is obviously cold. The feeling is obviously dark. But then there is a small contrast between the background and the front piece, right? Searching for this complementary game, right? If we search for some other painters, or for example, this last example of myself, here I was doing a video for you guys. So my intention was to show it in the biggest way I could, in a more fair way I could. And obviously then screens always change the colors a little bit, and maybe your screen is different than mine, and you will perceive this more golden or more whatever, I don't know, it depends on the screen. Indeed, televisions, you go to buy your television, and a Samsung and a Philips, they are completely different, same image, different result, different appearance, right? But if I show you this, which is not worse or better, it's just what is the goal underneath my intentions. And here my intention is, hey, this is for my students. I want to show my students everything. But if I put this with a black background, or with a black purple background even more, it will pop up like boom, impressive. So you have to start being wise to understand the goals of something. And understanding the goals of something doesn't reduce the value of it. Because if I check this, which is amazing by Kirill, amazing, please don't tell me in your life that this is clean, because it's not clean. It's defined, which is a very different thing. Indeed, let's search for something like this. I don't know if I explained a bit about this the last time, but if I did, you correct me. Is this clean, guys? Those are all brushstrokes. And why this works so well? Well, this works so well because Kirill is Messi of painting, miniature painting. This works so well because this is an amazing illustration. But this works so well also because it has brushstrokes that focus the attention towards where he wants. That's why this is almost flat, only with the glaze of shadow, while this is full of information. That's contrast, and that means focus as well. Then if we move and we search for a secondary view, which is quite impressive, please guys, think twice. Is this blended? plank, 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 plank. Those are linear blocks of color, and that's it. Check out the hair; it's almost flat, and this doesn't reduce the value of it. Check out the helmet; it's full of brushstrokes everywhere. But now check the contrast with the background. Why this works so well? Does it mean that this doesn't work out of the black background? No, that works in any condition because it's fantastically well painted. But obviously, he is playing with the background because here, where you don't see information, the miniature fades out. While if the background was gray or white, the contrast will be so much here between the reddish, dark red hair, ponytail hair, and the background, that then it will distract you from the real focus, which is this one. And that's why it's the real focus. And indeed, Kirill is lying because he's cheating you, which is one of the main things that a great painter does: cheat the viewer. Because here he's saying, okay, I will give a value of light and a saturation of colors in the helmet that is not related with how he has interpreted the rest of the figure. And the reason is that Kirill here is taking his bollocks, putting them on top of the table and saying, you know what, you will all be amazed by how good I am doing NMM reflections. And the rest is a secondary thing that doesn't matter so much. Guys, is this useful for you? Is this useful? Let's stop for a while to read your comments. That was an answer to Terry Cowell. Sacrament of Carnage is asking, when creating texture like that, do you have to worry about the light, or can it be just look? Can it just be to look interesting? No. Obviously, you have to consider the light. You have to consider what color, and you will see in the future frames what color is placed where. Obviously, yeah. Doug Risley, you are only focusing the texture on the areas of light. No, but I start with the areas of light and towards the main focal point, because that's more interesting for me to see the work more advanced the sooner I can. That makes sense? Paul Stockley, hi guy, what's up bro? People do similar things with pieces of sponge. Yeah, it's the same concept. Does this result in a different quality to the noise? It's different noise at the end. I mean, I have used sponge as well, but for different for different concepts. I think I can show you. Let's see if I find it quickly. Give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. I want to show you something where I think I was using, probably was using sponge there. Let me check, please. Yeah, for example, that's another completely different texture. ¿Cómo se aumenta la pantalla, David?
Alt y rueda. O control y rueda. Control y rueda.
That's a different texture, right? So at the end you have to search for the way to recreate different textures, and each one has his own methods. Obviously, I'm just showing you one method, right? But it could be many other ways. Like for example, you can check this. This is on my Instagram. See how I'm. Oh, here's the sponge. It's a different texture, and sometimes it's the combination of different stamps as well. Well, you can check this yourself. If you're not following me on Instagram, come on guys, you should. Obviously, let's return. Let's see some more questions. Paul Stockley, people, yeah, the bag. I did one on Bohun's classes the other week. Blew my mind what could be done with dry brushing when it's so looked down on a technique. But that makes sense, mate. At the end, Bochum has masterized this technique to a point that he can almost paint everything with this technique, which is just a method, you know. And myself, I prefer to be more varied in the resources that I have, because that allows me to jump from one style to the other, or at least even keeping my own signature somehow, that I think that I have my own style or my own way to understand, I don't know, colors or the layout. But Bochum is a living proof of how good he can be, or someone can be, when you practice the technique, obviously. I really like his works. Does this texture sample be better for bigger piece, or can this be done for 28 mil? Well, Frank, yeah, can be done. Obviously, you have to be more tiny in the execution of it, but you can do that, no problem. Yeah, indeed, Marmas Clan does this very often. Eric Swinson, what do you think the next step beyond just black, gray, or white background is? Well, the next step is already done, which are the illustrated backgrounds, and that's nothing else than a new approaching to illustration. Because at the end, no matter how the hardheads of their own mentality that thinks that miniatures should be done in one way and that's it, that's not the truth. Indeed, there are people that are taking risk, and I'm gonna show you. This is that was a gift by one of my students, that is Anthony Rodriguez. He was my student many years ago in Denver, in my first Denver's course, and he did this. That many of you might seen this before, which is a Van Gogh style anonymous interpretation. And well, that's working quite good, and is going in the same direction as Eric Swinson is doing. And that I have been doing for years, and that some other people are doing, you know, like at the end, those are just bridges that connect our field that is still very young with the illustration and the more evolved art field where all the styles are allowed. And I think that we are living now a very ahí no me sale la palabra. A good moment, right, where diversity is breaking the door, right? And that's fantastic, in my opinion. Extremely interesting. Ether Elise, this is absolutely useful. Thank you. No, thanks to you. Very useful, very useful. Thank you. Very interesting. Glad to hear that, guys. Paul Stockley, very interesting. Some of my favorite painters value color, contrast, define, brush, strokes. Yeah, well, definitely. But you know, this is something that we have to get rid of it. Like very smooth transitions. Smooth transitions is something needed sometimes, not always, and that's something. If you check, I don't know, last winners from Crystal Rush, you have LAN, super smooth transitions everywhere, which is a style. It's a style that I value because I know the technical complexity of it, but I don't like it personally so much. I mean, I think his work is gorgeous, sincerely, and we just have to clap for this fantastic work, but everything is too rendered for my own taste. Then you see Sergio Calvo, and Sergio Calvo is completely different. He used brushstrokes everywhere, and he is the previous winner. Then you have Kirill Kanaev, which is a mixture of both and has more diversity. I think he's much more complex indeed. Kirill has a more complex variety of solutions, right? To resolve the problems, you know, or the different volumes, the different materials. Then you have Sangeo Lee, who is something that looks super crisp, super neat, but then if you check it closer, it's full of watercolor stains, you know. So at the end, this is a matter of having different resources to achieve a beautiful artwork, right? And I don't think that if you see that in a big format, excuse me, if you see that in a big format like this, okay, like this, you will see many brushstrokes, not smooth transition almost anywhere. Sorry, because I don't have the time to search for the good quality picture, but I guess that you can check how much brushstroke is, right? But that doesn't reduce the beauty of the piece, at least in my opinion. And then when you see the real size, things change, no? And then when we go and see the video with the real size, where are the brushstrokes here? Doesn't it look blended or neat, which is a better word, or defined? You know the point? So the point of this is that at the end we are searching for focus, we are searching for definition, but we are not searching for smoothness. That's the key. That's something I deeply explain in the book. Sincerely, there is a very interesting chapter explaining this that I think that it will clarify many points of view. Sincerely, I think it's really well explained. But well, there are hundreds of thousands of examples that you can check out there. Eric Swinson is saying revolution. Yeah, why not? Do you think? Listen, this is. I mean, if you are bored about this kind of comments, just tell me. Okay, but when we saw this for the first time, that was the end of the 20th century. Okay, that was 20 years ago, more or less. Okay, and that was 20 years ago as well. Let's see if I find something. Mike Blanc. Not the pieces, itself, because I'm just explaining about the concept of it. Okay, so when these guys appeared, that was the beginning. Well, indeed, for example, this is a fantastic magazine from the beginning of the 20s, and this is, if you can find this, that's amazing. That's a milestone, definitely. These guys appeared at the end of the 90s, the beginning of the 2000, and Mike Blanc brought this environmental feeling, you know, ambience, basically. Before that, ambience didn't exist in the miniature world. Bill Horan, more or less, a few others, but well, Mike Blanc is even is older, right? But let's say that at the end of the 90s, these guys like Bill Horan, Gianfranco Esperanza, Mike Blanc, Raúl García Latorre, Rodrigo Hernández Chacón, these guys started the trend of introducing the cenital source light and focusing and creating an ambience by placing a more mute selection of colors, going towards a more, I wouldn't call it realistic, but more environmental feeling, you know? So here you can see the drama. No one complained about the black background. Do you think that this work exactly the same if in the background you have two naked chicks and some palms from Miami Beach? It won't look the same, obviously. So here the black background is helping to enhance the feeling of this beautifully painted cream of white, right? Same with Raúl García Latorre. Raúl García Latorre was the first who introduced in a serious way the cenital source light. I'm trying to find something really old from him. Me? Google is fantastic sometimes. Well, that's not so old, but that will represent really well what I'm talking about. Well, now everybody paints with cenital source light. That was painted maybe in 2002 or something like this. And that was even before. And that was fantastic, a milestone. Something to take as a reference, right? Nowadays, this maybe looks a little bit too classic. That doesn't mean that it's worse. It's just classic. But that was, this is to answer the question of Eric Swinson. That was revolutionary, definitely. At this time, Guess how the people, the old masters, thought about that. Oh, that cannot be. The zenithal source light is something too dramatic. Is blah 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 blah. That happens always when someone brings something new. People complains because most of them they don't understand, and some others that could understand it, they prefer to stay in silence and then start replicating this. I started to paint like an illustration, painting things like the duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan 9 years ago. If you check that now probably Eric can paint this even better. Now it's not so impressive, obviously, but we have to understand when things come out, right? And if I show you this and I tell you that this was painted 9 years ago, then it makes more sense. And sorry to insist so much in this, but this is not revolutionary, but maybe yes. It all depends on how it will be perceived in 10 years, but also how it will be remembered. That's the reason why it's good to show milestones, but also show other artists, because you can call me cocky when I show you these pieces, but as well, you know that I'm showing you many other artists from many other painting fields, and also many other miniature artists that I recognize how good they were, how good they are, and how important they were for the evolvement of the miniature world. And at the end, if you ask me revolutionary, I will say yes. Same as Kirill Kanaev has been revolutionary, and well, let's see who is revolutionary in the future, right? But at the end, we are building up bridges between just colorizing figures and interpreting figures in a way that they will look like illustrations or canvases. Paul Stockley said, being relatively new to miniatures, I find it strange that people rate miniatures in a format that doesn't reflect reality. Online zoom in 2 times more than actually looking at them in real life. Well, I don't rate them in this way, but I think it's good to analyze. The same as if you go to a museum, you have the chance to look at the canvas from 3 meters. That is maybe the right way to see it, depending on the size of the canvas. But then it offers you the chance to go closer and see the thickness of the paint. So it all depends on what are your goals. Me, as I study art to improve myself, when I go to whatever Chicago Art Museum and I see a beautiful whoever, what's the name of I forgot the name of that guy, this post-impressionist artist from the John Singer Sargent, for example. That is someone that I discovered a few years ago in Chicago, and I didn't notice about him before. When I saw him, the first impact is the focus of the room. It's a dark room. Well, it has many different pictures, but maybe it's a dark room, and maybe I see a very impressive light effect done with 3 brushstrokes, pam, 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 done. And that's quite impressive, but then I go closer and I check it. And this is also, one thing is the way to enjoy a figure. The way to enjoy a figure is definitely in your hand, to me. But displayed in the exact way that the artist want. Because at the end, it's the artist who is deciding how this should be displayed in the best way. That makes sense. It's like the canvas painter who decide the color of the frame, or who decide in which place of the house will be the paint. That makes sense. But obviously, nowadays, we relate each other through social media. We have to reduce the impact of the screen, right? To understand what is real, what is not real, and also why something is better or not. And the fact of being able to look at digitally, it doesn't reduce the quality of something. Kirill is not worse because the black background enhance his thing, because he's doing a box art. This is the goal of this is to sell figures. The piece by Kirill is fantastic. If you see them in hand, you will be like this. because in hand you will perceive many different things that you cannot perceive in digital. In hand you will perceive the thickness, the subtlety of his brushstrokes. If you see my figures in hand, you will probably be impressed by the thickness of the paint. And you will be able to see color decisions even in a better way than in picture. But this is the same like going and see the Gioconda, the Mona Lisa from Leonardo da Vinci. How many of you have seen it in real? I have. Have you? Have you seen it in real? Have you ever talked about the Gioconda? This is a question for you, Paul Stockley. Have you ever speak about the Gioconda? You know the Gioconda, right? Mona Lisa. Yep. Have you ever bring some words about this piece? And probably most of you have never seen it in real. So obviously there's a difference between watching something in real and watching something on a screen. But unfortunately, not everybody has the chance to go to Kirill's room, and check the pieces in hand, you know? So I think that both ways have their own advantages. And obviously there are the decisions of a painter depends on how this will be viewed, right? If people will see something in the box of a box art, is a kind of work that is slightly different than if it's a complex work for a collector or for being in the Mummy Museum, or let's see, I don't know. But also when you see it in hand, it's not fair to judge something if it's not under the ideal light conditions, because check one of your figures, check them under 2 lamps, and then check them outside in your garden at midday. Check if it looks like the same. This is exactly the same like any piece of art. When you listen to music, if you listen to classical music, it's not the same if you listen in silence in your own room, isolated, than if you listen to it while Marilyn Manson is playing next. The experience is not the same, obviously. Or the food is not the same if you eat some amazing whatever, like stew from a French cuisine restaurant, and you mix it with mayonnaise, then you ruin it. So experiences, sensorial experiences, depends on the displayment of the item itself. I hope that makes sense. Check how here I'm playing also with here I'm playing with thickness as well. Can you see that here you can perceive more or less the viscosity and the thickness of it, because I want to create real texture with it. And obviously I'm focusing towards the light source that is coming from one side. That is something that I explained in the previous video. And then I will reduce the noise by adding many different layers. And as you can see, I'm flattening the image, or flattening the effect, let's say. Hey, José María, ¿qué pasa, tío? Hey, Moyarco, what's up? 2 Spanish guys, 2 students. Hi, guys. So, I will continue insisting. Sorry for the camera shot. As you see, I'm displaying noise almost everywhere, but the noise depends on the color I'm picking for each part. So in the frontal areas, the color will be much more bleach, with more white and more pinkish, while there are texture with some kind of wine, desaturated wine color in the midtones and shadows. And then is where I start with this Grex airbrush, which I don't recommend you to work with Grex, or at least my experience was completely a disaster. Is one of the worst airbrushes I have tried in my life, sincerely, at least my experience there. And here, as you can see, I'm doing glazes or filters of color with a very diluted version of a wine red. And as you see, I'm throwing the paint, right? with a lot of transparency, so I will keep most of the noise, but I will start tinting it. Moyarco is doing the effort of trying to follow my English because he couldn't follow the Spanish version. Thank you, bro. No, it's perfectly understandable because it's not so good, so you will be able to understand. And I also speak very slow, I guess. So here's where I'm going to continue filtering almost everywhere I go forward. I will insist with the reddish color in the darker areas and also the midtones to enhance the feeling of the red. And here, this is one step accomplished, right? Where most of the intermediate noise has been slightly fade out, and is gaining color. But I continue. And obviously I'm flattening it a bit. That's the reason why first is better to start with thickness, because then you're going to flatten the effect with the paint. That makes sense? Guys, English guys, people from the world, please answer to me. Tell me something. Do you want me to go faster? I'm mixing something dark, probably. I'm painting the bottom parts, because every time you use the airbrush, that can speed some parts that you don't want, and I'm just gaining again darkness there to keep the contrast visible always. And as you can see, I'm also applying this color that is some kind of like very dark glaze, probably with some kind of blue or purple, I don't remember. Doesn't matter so much. And I am applying this in the inner, the deepest areas of the cloth. Ether, Ilis, you're going at a perfectly fine pace. Pace, que es velocidad. Pace is speed.
Es como un timing de las carreras, pero no sé qué se referirá, pero...
No, creo que dice que voy bien de tiempo, o sea, que voy bien de tiempo.
Sí, ¿no?
So here you can see that I'm applying that color very liquid, and that's the reason why it looks shiny.
Es un ritmo. Pace es ritmo.
Pace es rhythm. Okay.
Pero ritmo es ritmo de más de baile y pace es ritmo de vuelta, ¿no? De cómo estás avanzando.
And then I return to noise again. Here I have picked pink again, and I am redoing, because this is a back and forth game, right? You gain texture, then you gain color, texture is reduced, then you gain shadows, texture is more reduced, then you gain texture even more, and now I compare with the base that was prime in the previous video, right? To see how much is the color contrast. Yeah, Eric Swinson, would you use more inks to filter with the airbrush now? You can use inks, but if you use just inks, it will probably get glossy really quickly. So here you can use inks to enhance the mixture, but I will prefer to use something intermediate. Maybe inks with something else. Terry Cowell, just for anyone who hasn't been lucky enough to catch a class, insist. Should be another fancy hashtag. I always insist your work. Keep pushing. Definitely. I mean, I'm the most stubborn guy in the world. Maybe not the most, but I belong to this community of super stubborn people. I'm like a bull, you know? And I don't have a special talent, you know? I think I am just very committed with what I do. And I insist. Until a point that I stop because I'm tired and I give up, like I have done with the color theory classes, that I have cancelled them for the future. So, Hans Reiner, mate, hello and welcome.
Llevo un rato intentando escribir, por lo visto, y no sabía cómo. Pobre Hans.
You have been trying to write with the iPad for a while and you couldn't achieve it. Hans Reiner, this is because you are too old for this shit, you know, same as me. And you and me, we belong to a generation that we are not an iPad generation. We are more like a Spectrum generation or something like this. Hans Reiner says, I really like the format and I am happy to have finally managed to join live. Thank you for watching, mate. No, mate, you're not too old. You are courageous and you like to try things, so that's fantastic. Again, I'm filtering again. But now, if you see, I'm filtering on top of the darker color that I placed before. And now I'm gonna start framing. And when I say framing, it's dividing elements. I'm gonna paint the lower stripe. How can I say this? Band, stripe. This, what I'm painting now. What's the name of this, guys? And I'm painting this with some kind of purpley brown, okay? That will go really well as a base color to place some ochre on top or some brown on top, because here I was thinking on maybe adding like a golden band, right? Thank you, Paul. And the reason why I started with purple is because I didn't want to take a risk, and instead of black, I added a very dark purple brown to continue with the same coherence with the colors, if that makes sense. Sacrament of Carnage. Good night, everybody. Everyone, look forward to watching the stream later. Thank you for coming, mate. Really appreciate it. Cheers. Bye. Sleep well. So here I'm going to to cover all this band. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's amazing the music that I listen back at this time. Something I think I have never listened again. Indeed, I don't know even what it is. Oh, here as you can see, I have turned the central part of the cloth into a purpley color, because I still not decide what color will be. You will see that the feeling is that it's not fully covered. So the color is just like glazed on top somehow. It has no full coverage. And it's a very dark color because I want to enhance the cold feeling with this purple that goes next in the color wheel than wine, let's say. It's pretty cold, has a lot of blue on it. But this one, it has a darker value in terms of brightness. It's darker to gain more contrast. Hans Reiner says, using purple to stay harmonic instead of potentially breaking harmony with black. Well, you will not break harmony with black because black is a neutral tone. It will never break harmony. But indeed, using purple will enhance the harmony. Moyarco, would you do the same process if you use another color? Well, depends. I mean, imagine that you're using a yellow cloth and then you use purple or a brown purple for the band. Then that will create a super strong contrast, even more than if you use something more harmonic like a pure ochre. But indeed, the next step will be to add ochre. So when we're playing with tertiary tones all belong to the same family, so all play well amongst themselves. The reason why I'm searching first with purple is because I still didn't decide what color will be, and probably I was thinking here that maybe some kind of dark purple for the band would be good. So, and then I decided, no, you know what? I want more contrast and I want something more colorful because I wanted to show that the cloth was rusted, but sorry, that the cloth was rusted, but initially it was a rich cloth. So, like telling the viewer that this wizard was like a successful wizard in the past, but he didn't change his clothes since a while ago. And here I'm introducing the next step for the band, which is some kind of
Moñarco se refería a
military color, some kind of like English uniform or some kind of green dark ochre. ¿Boyarco se refería?
a lo de añadir blanco primero para luego volver a añadir el color. Si seguirás ese proceso con otros colores.
Sí, puede ser. O sea, no necesariamente, pero sí, ¿por qué no? O sea, te vale con cualquier color. Okay, so here basically I am in the second layer that will not cover so well on top of the wine color, but will cover really well on top of that dark brown. And you see, as soon as the color is absorbed and it dries, it goes darker. So I can check how it will look in the future by seeing how it looks like now, but then the color will go down. You see, I'm bringing this goldeny feeling very slowly. And here are the mixtures. As you can see, my palette was quite smaller at this age. Now my palette is much bigger. Ouch. And you'll see how I will use this kind of green ochre, that this will be eligible for a non-metallic gold, for example, as well. I'm doing some kind of not wet blending, but I am applying the color pretty wet. It's quite dilute, and the trace here is firm and straight because I just want to cover. I will not leave any brush mark because the surface it has some intricate like drawings, like words for a spell or something like this. And also the surface is so narrow that it doesn't allow to let some brush strokes, right? So it will be fully covered quite easily. And I can use this also for some other elements like the central belt that then will be interpreted in a different way. I think the central belt looks a little bit more browny, how I perceive it. That probably I have made this mixture by mixing the band color with some kind of red that I had on the palette. Eric Swinson asked me, what will you do differently now, if anything? Probably everything. I don't know. I will go forward to the effect probably. I will go more straight to the effect I want. But because now I have things more clear. Definitely much more clear. So I'm much more aggressive now because I go here. I was building up the process slowly, you know, like step by step. While now I go to the effect straight away and then I go down to smooth if needed or refine somehow, but I go to the effect. So my concept now is more impressionist in the way of how I sketch, and I always sketch while beforehand I didn't sketch so much. Indeed, I was more searching for. Why? Because that was a period of my career where I was discovering my style. You know, I was searching for it. I already had a quite nice technique, and I could rely on that technique, but I was searching for what was my potential, let's say. Indeed, at this stage, that was done just like 2 or 3 months before, or a few, not so much, not so long before the Ghost Rider. So that piece, indeed, initially it had an extremer idea in my mind because it was in my notebook and it was even more dramatic. But then, due to the goals of the company, we wanted to create something more, more stereotypical, you know, like more average in a way. That could be something that didn't scare the potential clients, right? While now I don't care, you know, I do what I feel. So even for an art box, it's a different goal, indeed. Here I'm already applying the yellow, so I'm mixing some kind of yellow ochre to certain areas of the band, focusing towards the main view. And if you see, the color is pretty dilute and it's not mixed with the previous color, it's applied straight away. That means that I'm not fully covering, because I was searching for some kind of glittering effect at the beginning that will come up by itself by placing like a medium glaze, not a full glaze. It's not like 80% of water or 90% of water. It was something more like 60%, 70%, something like this. So that creates some kind of like glittery effect by noise, because it doesn't fully cover. Paul Stockley, will you do a review of different NMM style in the future? Not sure about this. Not sure, because that's part of the content I do for the non-metallic weekend workshop that I seriously recommend everybody, because it's where I explain deeply how to understand non-metallic. But well, maybe yes, maybe I kill the weekend workshop as well, the same as I have done with the color theory, and then I will explain it. I don't know. It all depends. I don't know. It's not in the close plans, but well, maybe in the future. Let's see. It all depends how long this adventure will last. I don't know. So you can see how the band, let's say, how the band looks like concentrated here, where you cannot even check or see the detail, because the color is completely, the pigment is displayed there, you know, like juntado, joined there. But then in the external parts it looks more like noisy, you know. It's because the transparency is creating a non-blended transition.
No sé si join te valdría, porque join es como más de una persona que se unen. Ya, put together. Put together.
Not join, put together. And see where I place here, because this is a concave element, right? It's concave. So I am displaying the light at the point where it will create more contrast with the next concave volume. Those are tricks. And here I'm going even brighter with more creamy yellow, desaturated with white or with some kind of off-white or something like this. It's like wheat color, and I am enhancing the points of light of the band. The reason why I'm focusing so much on the band is because I want to know how far I want to go with this kind of spark or with this kind of element that is more reflective than the cloth itself, to see if I can stop here or further, because this will affect to the other elements as well. And you can see I'm concentrating around here the color. I always focus on one side, and then I will resolve the quiz of the other views. But for the moment, this is what is driving me to the right step. Guys, we are 22 viewers. Only 10 people has asked some questions. I don't know if the others are spies from the old Soviet Union or something, but well, you can also say hello. Indeed, if you are there to just check and you're going to copy something for your own Patreon, you can also ask some questions, so then the replicate is much better. You can see how here I'm working with some noise. I'm doing some kind of, like, not stippling, but like breaking the rhythm, like tick, 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 to create a feeling of glittering. 101 watt, hello, hi. Nice to see you. And as I see that this is a darker area because the light is coming from one side and it should be darker towards the other side, I am reducing a little bit the amount of light, but if it's too much, you can see that I reduce it I remove it with the finger straight away.
Peter Petrovich, I have asked about when it's better to use the airbrush and when not to use it.
Oh, excuse me, Peter Petrovich. I have asked about when it's better to use airbrush and when it's not to use. Well, it depends. It's just a resource. It's a tool. You can use it at any moment or not use it. I'm no one to tell you exactly where to use it. Here I'm using it to filter on top of the noise that I have created with the brush, because the filter of the airbrush is also pointy. It's like stippling as well. So it enhances this stippling effect, but also it flattens a little bit the effect, but it has an advantage, which is that if you filter by brush, when you release the brush, it will leave a concentrated amount of pigment. While if you do this filtering technique with the airbrush and you control it, which is a little bit more difficult to control, so filtering glazes with airbrush is not so easy, but it's also not so difficult. Then the effect is more subtle somehow. Well, guys, that's a longer video. That will be for next, because it's like 36 minutes. I will do a sneak peek of it. You can check many things here. Like I'm already painting part of the flesh, deciding some different colors, readjusting some textures, more like a refining work as well, like doing like a very stiff cloth appearance. So I will explain this in the future session of it. So guys, I'm gonna do a round about questions. I don't know if you have any questions. I hope this has been useful. I don't know, what are your thoughts? Please, like always, give us some feedback, comments, all your comments. If you write the comments in the comment box when we release the video officially for the Patreon, we will take notes about all your suggestions, and in future videos we will be able to answer all those questions. And you know that your participation is crucial for us. We really need it. And if you think that we are doing a good job, please guys, suggest your friends to follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube channel. That's important to grow because sometimes we are doing also free live streamings. So tell them to subscribe, to click the bell, to get the notifications. And please, if you have some beautiful words for us in your social media, you know that people follow opinions by others. So if you really think that we are doing a good job and you like what we are proposing, please help us to grow. That's important for us. This is our way of feeding our cats and families. This is our work. So the more you support us, the better product, the better content we can do, and the more things we can do. And I think it's obvious that we are squeezing ourselves to bring you the best content we can. And don't forget, David Phillips, ask Alfonso. David, ask me something. Yeah. I don't understand the harmonics, so I was going to ask a friend privately. What's the point of asking a friend privately when you can ask me directly? Harmonic colors are colors that are similar to each other in a way. So harmonic colors could be colors that share the same temperature, for example. Harmonic colors could be colors that share the same saturation, for example. Harmonic colors essentially are the colors that are next to each other in the color wheel. Like, for example, if you play with a good, like a harmonic transition, a very natural transition will be, for example, purple, wine red, neutral red, orange red, orange, yellow. And with this, I'm playing with the full wheel, but in this case, I'm placing them in order. That's playing with harmony. Playing with harmony, it's, for example, this. This is a Metal and Alchemy. It's some colors I designed it a few years ago for Scale 75. Those metallic colors designed by me. So, for example, the cover, this is an old figure I painted for them, and it's all in blue metallics, right? So everything else, it's going in the same kind of, in the same tendance of colors. Does it make sense, David? Yeah, analogous. Yeah, exactly. Colors that are similar, colors that are close to each other. The thing is that where do you stop? I give you a good example. It's like maybe you and Eric are completely different, personally wise. Like characterfully wise. Maybe David, you like chocolate and Eric hates chocolate, but essentially you are both US citizens, right? So that makes you be harmonic in a way. In contrast with me or I don't know, Mollarco, that we are both from Spain. So this is a contrast, right? But in terms of a war against aliens, right? We are humans, so we are harmonic in terms of that we share mankind against aliens, for example. So everything is a matter of contrast. Everything is a matter of comparison. Everything is a matter of which elements are you seeing in comparison with which other elements. That makes sense? That's harmony. If suddenly I put a spot of yellow here, then this is contrast. That makes sense? Not harmony, right? And then there are neutral tones like gray, black, or white that none of them they react in a wrong way. They can be placed almost everywhere. What are there any resources you recommend to study color theory more in depth? There is a nice book. Well, there are many books that are interesting. I like the one from Light and Color from James Gurney. That's really good. But the problem of all the color theory books I have read is that they explain different elements of the color theory, but they don't relate each other very well, or at least in the way that I understand or that I would like to explain myself. That's the reason why when I did the color theory courses that I will not do anymore, I explain all these subjects, all of them, from primary color, secondary color, saturation, desaturation, temperature, harmony, different kind of contrast, how to play with them, how to understand them, luminosity, vibrancy, terms like pigments, things like this. I used to explain them in the color theory course. That, if you are from the US, there is the last chance to witness this or to be part of this. That is something that already 500 students all over the world has experienced, because there will be a color theory class in Seattle that I think is fully booked or almost, and then there are a few seats left on the color theory course in San Francisco. But this is the last time I will explain this in a weekend course, because many reasons. Many reasons that I really believe that is the right time to stop these kind of courses. The point is that color theory is complex, it's very complex. And it's very complex because it's not a matter of ingredients that you mix and always have a specific solution. It's also a matter of how to combine these elements in a way that that you achieve the goals that you're searching for. So sometimes even the goal could be to use the colors in the wrong way to achieve a certain goal, like creating something uncomfortable, for example. That is the goal of people like Munch, for example. If you check the Scream by Munch, that use the color theory to create like this, for example, that use the color theory to create something uncomfortable. We never know which is the original one, but anyway, you can check it by yourself. So the point of this is that color theory is something very deep that you have to experience yourself. Things that I will not do. Well, I prefer to shut up. I will not do a brief research on Google, because Google is full of things that are useful and also things that are not useful. I will not stay attached to a very scientific color theory, because at the end, colors are a matter of perception and it depends on many factors. And colors is not something absolute, it's something that we perceive differently, but also the colors react differently depending on the pigment. So it's not only a matter of the color theory instead of the pigment features, right? Which is different. And also the way to use these pigments, because the same pigment used in different ways react in different way as well. And there is a good example in the glazing technique video that you can all check because has been produced like a couple of months ago in our Patreon. Things that I can suggest, sincerely, try to understand the colors by watching masters and take your own conclusions and see where they place which colors and why. And also you will see how many painters use the color theory to the extreme with very muted colors, where are almost achromatic tones, where you cannot perceive the colors so well until you have trained your eyes to catch those colors that are introduced inside of cheating mixtures that looks almost grayish, but they have the presence of a main color that is acting like it acts a color of this family, considering the color theory. So color theory is something that no one understands perfectly in his whole life. But if I can suggest you something, study the Impressionist and study the Post-Impressionist, because these guys were the ones who destructurize, ¿se puede decir? Desestructurar.
Sí, yo creo que sí. Desestructurar.
Sí.
Destructurize.
Destructurize the color into his main essence, and this is the key. The more you see about Impressionist and Post-Impressionist, the more you can learn. And also the new childs of Post-Impressionist that were people like Norman Rockwell or Frazetta, because these guys, even if their style is not Impressionist anymore, however, the brushstrokes reminds the Post-Impressionist. but these guys has a very impressive understanding of color, and well, that's you know, color theory is like an ocean where you can start swimming in the beach, and then you can go inside for days, hours, weeks, and keep on studying, and it's to me the most interesting subject to study with light, let's say. But if there is a book that I will recommend for average readers, is this Light and Color by James Gurney, which is the classical book that everybody will recommend, which is a very interesting book. Also, you can learn about the psychology of the colors and, well, many other factors. Deconstruct, yeah. Eric Swinson, I have to go. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye. Boyarko, with this type of process more linear than your current process, do you get the same nuances of color? No. The final result is much simpler than my current work, without any doubt, but probably easier to understood by the public, and maybe they will value in the same way. So it makes no difference for me to be more, let's say, successful in a way that how people perceive my work. But probably for painters, for canvas painters, or well, say real painters, not colorizers, people that are really interested on painting, these people will probably appreciate more my current skills and my current style and my current method, because it's much more complex in terms of colors, definitely. While this Invocatio was quite naive somehow. Beautiful, but quite naive. Hans Reiner, I do want that book. Thank you, mate. I hope you will buy it, because you will not regret that for sure. I'm pretty confident that everybody who buy the book will be very surprised in a positive way. So that's the book. Last is 300 pages, A4 format, hardcover, best quality printing, 85,000 words and 2 years of work. So definitely it worth a read. Paul Stockley, will you be covering all the color theory content from your course in the Patreon in the future? No idea. Maybe. Depends. If we grow, yeah. If we don't grow, no. It all depends. People must understand that, like everything else, this is a matter of feedback. If we produce more and we drain our energy till we expire, makes no sense. If we do this hard work that costs us our health, at least me, and then we get some benefit that could be growing, in many ways, growing, and people start helping us by sharing, by speaking about the hard work we are doing, because I know that most of the people, they don't know that this exists, and if they knew it and if they try it, they will see how good job we are doing, because I'm pretty confident that we are doing the best job we can. Indeed, there is no lack of energy spent on this. I mean, I'm spending, and David as well, all our life doing this. If we get some feedback by you as a community, and we can grow together, then you will have all the content, obviously. If I see that people just fulfill courses of other people, that they just go there with the figure and they say, follow my steps and that's it, and this is what people value, if this is what people want, then we will have to change our method, because it makes no sense to be the fools of miniature world, bringing all the content for $13, all the content as the deepest I can, showing you everything, no hiding anything, and then seeing how some other people are doing like 1, 2, 3 magic, and they have more support, sincerely. And this is something I will expect from any kind of fair relationship with a friend, with a student, with a client, with everything, you know. Otherwise makes no sense. And that's the main reason why I have stopped the color theory courses. If people want the color theory courses, give it some support. What makes no sense is that I cross the whole world to go to another part of the world, and then people are like, yeah, you know. No, mate, I mean, this is a unique content. The course is fantastic, has been fantastic always. I have had so many students. Indeed, almost all the professionals from the US has been in those courses, and almost all the professionals in Europe has been in those courses, and they have benefit themselves, which is fair, you know. They pay for it, so that's it. And that's a reason, you know. There is a reason because they go to these courses. And well, what I'm seeing now is that I'm fighting against the wall sometimes, trying to teach the people in the deepest way, no matter how is my character or my attitude, that you can find me stupid or arrogant or whatever, but this is the truth. What I'm explaining is the truth, and I'm explaining the things so deeply that people can understand why, not how, instead of why. So then they can resolve their own situations by themselves. And I think that it's better to teach how to fish than to give the fish. So I'm not going to spend 100 days like I have been doing for years, traveling all over the world, teaching everybody and draining my energy, when then the result is that if I paint 2 Warhammers a week, copying styles or doing like linear processes, and I post them on Instagram, then I will have 25,000 followers and not 8,000 followers. And this is not a matter of ego, believe me or not, because my ego is covered by my good friends and partner, by my wife, and by the people that loves me, that are many. Fortunately, I'm a very lucky guy, but it's a matter of business at the end. And everybody is looking for business, and we seems to be stupid sometimes when we are offering much more content than anybody else, at least the same quality, or I will say the top quality of this kind of content, and then the result is zero grow. So if it's zero grow, my answer to you, Paul, is that let's see what happens in the future. We need some support. That's it. And I cannot be more honest. I cannot be more direct, and I cannot be more loud. Despite this, I will always ask you in an honest way. And everybody who has asked me any question knows that. Hans Reiner, not sure what will be enough time after taking the class twice, 2015 and 2018, is still mind-blowing. Yeah, Hans Reiner, I'm pretty sure of it. Even if you and me, we have spoken about some things to fix and to improve, and I'm always open to improve the content even more. But the thing is, every time I do this course, my brain also explodes, because it's a lot of content in 2 days. Is an explosion of knowledge vomited, and I arrive to a point where I can explain even more content in a simpler way, so I can chew it for the people. But I'm not going to resolve everybody's life when then people appreciate more some other kind of content. And this is a matter of, you know, surviving. You know, it's a matter of adapting yourself to nowadays. If people want quick, step by step, some results. People don't give a fuck if they understand what they're doing. They just want to copy something to brag about how good they are in social media. That's the truth. So if they do that, it's perfectly fine. I mean, I respect that, but this is not the real knowledge. I have seen so many people that are showing, this is the figure I have painted in my private class or in my coaching with whoever, and this is how it looks like. It's so amazing, and it's exactly the same like something that has been painted by a master painter that has been painting professionally for 7, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years. Don't you realize, guys, that this is fake? That makes nonsense. And I'm not saying that it's fake, that this guy has not painted this in this class. Surely yes, but don't you see that the painter, the professional painter, is on top of him saying, put this color here, put that color there, and that is impossible in 2 days or in 1 hour or even in 1 year to arrive to the same level as a master painter just because you go to a course. Don't you realize this? Guys, come on, let's be more clever, right? But obviously, to me, it's much easier if I go to a course and I tell you, step 1, follow me. Step 2, follow me. At the end, I have 20 people doing a fantastic job that this spread more my courses, gives me more money, gives me more clients, but you know what? I am being fake. I'm not being a good teacher. Behind my perspective, behind my way of understanding the teaching. Me, I prefer to go to a course, maybe you don't get anything painted, maybe you listen to me that is very annoying for 20 hours, but at the end, maybe 2 years later, you're still running things in your head. And maybe when you find out something, you will say, oh, click, oh, that is what Alfonso told me, because that has happened with so many people. So I cannot be more honest, sincerely. The content will be good in the future courses. Yes, it will be good, but it will be different because I will adapt myself to what people demand. You know, what I'm not going to do is to bring content as we are a community of, let's say, 450 Patreons and let's say between David and me, let's say 10,000 possible potential customers. And I'm not going to give something for such a cheap price for then someone who has a much bigger audience. He take it, he copy, he just simplify it, and then good for him. Nowadays, do you know how many people I'm seeing now that they're participating in Golden Demons with ideas that other people we created 10 years ago and doing exactly the same idea, and they are being awarded and people are saying, oh, that's fantastic, amazing idea, and it's like, mate, we did this 10 years ago. It's exactly the same idea, the same concept, exactly the same as a copy. But because Miniature World don't have a history book, until you read the book, it's so unfair, you know, and well, we have to survive in the best way we can. Obviously, always offering the best to our clients and the people that support us. If you guys support us, you will get the best from us, which is fair. I think it's fair enough, and it should be like this. Okay, so what else? Whoa. Many questions. So one of what? Interesting. I didn't notice the green in the helmet of that Kirill piece you were showing earlier. I don't think I will have caught that a couple of months ago. But this is part of what I'm saying. You know, I enhance the people that are great painters because that should be done. You know, it's fair that we tribute to the people that are pushing the world of miniatures, because these people should be publicly praised, you know. And Kira is one of them. Is one of them. And if I show you something and then you can see and see more, observe and capture more things, then that means that the feedback between you and me is good. Me as a teacher and you as a student, and that is a mature relationship. I want mature students because we will bring mature content for every level, but mature content, something to help you really, not to sell you cheap hamburgers each month and get some cash. No, content that is serious and content that is respectful also with other artists. especially the ones that are producing honest and original things. No matter if I like them personally or not, it's only about the artworks. And also respecting the concept of teaching that at least David or me, we have, because we are teachers. And that's the point, that we are teachers. We really believe on teaching as a method to change the world. And the world we are living in is the miniature world. So if we can bring an input, that doesn't mean that there are so many other like great artists. You have to check Aitami, for example. He's a fantastic teacher, and he's very young and he's very fresh, and he has a different way of explaining things, which is very interesting. Some others as well, you know. Ben is someone that has been there, always bringing really nice content, really serious content in a very great way to present his work. You know, there are many people that are doing. Roman is a fantastic teacher. There are many people that are great. Well, not many, but there are a few people that are great teachers. I'm pretty sure that the US guys that are doing a fantastic job for the base of the community. I mean, there are many people that are doing a great job. But one thing that is truth is that we cannot deny that if you in your work you kill yourself working and you don't gain some reward from it, what will happen? You will change your work, or you will say, okay, I prefer to earn less money but being more healthy. Don't you? Be honest, you know. Then you can throw me knives, but be honest first. Star Wars Geek Donut. You prefer the Impressionist over the Renaissance Masters? Me, yes. But it's a matter of taste, you know, because the Renaissance painters, that many of them are inspiration for me, which I prefer Baroque, because Baroque is more dramatic, and Renaissance painters are so classic in a way that they only they only think about how to represent things in an ideal way, while then Baroque painters bring the depth, bring the drama, bring the night, bring the shadows, bring the tenebrism. That's to me more complex, and is obviously an evolution. Renaissance masters are focused on sfumato and are focused on creating things that looks beautiful always. Even the topic, even the subjects of that art is very naive to me. I'm not saying anything wrong against those masters, obviously, but also you cannot almost see anything because everything is like a perfect render, you know. And you see the Madonnas from Raphael, and it's like the perfect image. And you see the only one who stand up more is Leonardo da Vinci, because he hides secret things inside of his artworks, and that's why it's so interesting, at least to me. While then the Baroque come, and people like Rivera, like Velázquez, like Caravaggio, like Tiepolo, those people are bringing something much more expressive for me, and the concept of environment. And then Impressionist is where the peak of the painting technique has been already achieved, and because the photography appears, and then they have to break with this because they realize that they cannot be more accurate with the reality than a photography. That means that they didn't see the last Samsung Galaxy Note, obviously. But back at this time, the photography was so impressive that they thought, okay, we have to capture something. What do you have to capture? The ambience. But the ambience in terms of light, color, movement, right? And how can we capture this? Going outside and paint something fresh. For this, we have to, as an impressionist thinking, we have to develop new brushstrokes, new styles, and new ways to understanding the color. And when you study the impressionist, these guys were so amazingly wise and clever to deconstruct the color that they were seeing and place them in simpler colors that works effectively the same as a real picture. That is so unbelievable. And if you don't trust me, I will show you something. Like, for example, I always speak about Sorolla because he's my favorite, probably my favorite painter of all time. Mate, if you see that, don't tell me that you can don't tell me that you cannot find yourself in that place and feel exactly the moment, the light, the mood. Let me find some of my favorite. Why? Saraya. That's post-impressionist. That is post-impressionist. Well, check them by yourself, and you will be blown out by how amazing amazing he was in how he represent the light, the temperature, the mood, the feeling, the movement. And these guys are based on the teachings or the learnings from Manet, Monet, Cézanne, Renoir, all these guys. And then all the new vanguards that came afterwards are not so interesting for me from aesthetically wise, you know. I'm not so interested on how they look like Fauvism, for example, or Dadaism, whatever, you know, abstract, whatever. But it's interesting to me from the perspective of the development of the storytelling or the goals, that the concept that is behind the artwork, which is a different subject. But painting wise, in terms of painters, to me, the Pike is, to me, that's my personal point of view, is the Impressionist. Indeed, you have a really good one, which is John Singer Sargent. That is someone that impressed me so much. That is from the US, and well, you can learn a lot. I mean, if you want to learn about colors, like just we were talking about color theory, right? Check this. This is pure color theory. Lilac, which is a purple, against an ochre, or a desaturated ochre, which is a yellow. Color theory, simple. Very simplistic way to represent. You don't need 2000 transitions, but it's working so well, and it represents so well what he wants to show that there is nothing else that you need. So sometimes to be more simplistic and to arrive to the same goal with less effort, or not less effort, with less elements, is something priceless to me, my point of view. Hans Reiner, what book would you recommend for learning from classical art? I have a collection of, I don't know, 30, 40 books with different artists. I collect books from artists, and indeed my favorite collection is Taschen, that you can check here. Those books are amazing. Those are spectacular books, and they have many different topics, including many different artists. You know, I don't know if this is the basic art, Renaissance. All those are very interesting. You can pick your own. Fantastic. I have many of them. I have these. 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 I have this one. I have Cézanne. I have Velázquez. There are many, so this is more up to your taste, I guess. Doug Grizzly had to go. Bye bye. Thank you for coming, Doug. Hans Reiner, you know, will Paul Stockley can make Adepticon, but will send a friend to get a copy of the book. Thank you very much, Paul. Tell him to if you want me to sign something or to bring you a poem. Maybe I can, like, flowers are red and the breath is. So, what else? Ivan Grande, Lucas, hi Alfonso, do you know Figopedia book from Jeremy Bonamant? Yes, yes, I know. What do you think about it? Well, Jeremy is an old friend of mine. I love him. And indeed, in first Figopedia, some pieces of mine and maybe some, I don't know if part of the articles are from something I wrote at some point. I don't know about the new Figopedia, but yeah, well, Jeremy is a very old friend of mine, and we love and hate each other. No, we love each other. He's I go to his wedding next year or this year, so yeah, I have to check the date indeed. Now, Figopedia. Yeah, it's an interesting book. It's an interesting book. Boyarco. The design of the book looks great. I can go to Leones to do it later. Gracias, tío. Terry Cowell. I know personally how much you invest in everything you commit to, and it deserves to grow. Obviously, my review will wait until the magazine, but we really need to share the shit out of your Facebook. Thank you, Terry. I really appreciate you. You're a fantastic person. Since the first day I met you in Liverpool, 2014 or 13, something like this. And this Insta post, it will benefit us. All I can say is I'm here to stay. Of course. Thanks, mate. David Phillips, I had to go. Bye bye. Peter Petrovich, when I paint a miniature, I've got problems finding brighter areas. Should I use spray can to make a zenithal highlight and paint over it, or should I try to paint from imagination? No, I think you have to make a combination of both. If you stay attached to something that is physically visible, like a spray, you will not realize that many decisions should be taken faking the reality to make it look more realistic. Because light is more complex than only one source of light, and I can give you an example. If I have the light like this coming from a zenithal source light, you don't see my face. I'm completely bleached, right? But maybe it could be interesting for a super strong zenithal source light, because I don't know, I'm from Dragon Ball and I have the Kamehameha here, for example, right? So if I were the painter, I will start with something like this, but then I will try to adapt what I have seen to something that is easier to read or more beneficial to my goals. So it's a mixture of both things. It's not only realism and it's not only self-interpretation. It's a mixture of both. And imagination gets benefit from learning and study also what you see. So the more you learn and the more you observe, the better will be your imagination. Indeed, all the best imaginative guys in the art field, like Giger, for example, the creator of Aliens, at the end is a combination of many things. So he wants something that is creepy, is uncomfortable, but at the end is also attractive and looks slimy, and he makes a big cock like a head. That makes sense. And if you think it's a weird mixture, but makes sense, you know, all those decisions are based on something. And this guy has a big closet full of ideas that then he can connect. And those are geniuses because they know how to connect them better. So many questions. I'm happy for that. Many questions. Hans Reiner, I think personally that copying is a good way to learn, but more often than not, copying seems to be all that people go for. Completely agree with you. In my experience, having one of the great painted miniature is the worst possible outcome for a class. Copy can be a first step, but should never be the goal. Completely agree. Same thing. Cara, hey Cara, what's up? Cool, is still going. Thought I would have missed it. Surrealism is my favorite. Dali, yeah. I know a lot of mini painters who are bigger fans of impressions. Moyarco, I love Sorolla and his house museum. It's amazing. If you go to Madrid, you have to go to the Museum of Sorolla, which is a very small house where he lived for a while, and it's quite impressive. Most of his more famous paintings that are huge are there. Paul Stockley got to go. Thanks. Bye bye, Paul. Nice to meet you here. On what a great example. Thank you. Thanks to you. Star Wars Geek Dondet. Thanks. I admit that I'm not familiar with the Impressionists, but I'll look more into them. Watch them. You will not. You will learn things for sure, no matter if you like them or not. Karanash, Wiki Art. It's an interesting resource, not complete by any stretch, but nice. Agree. What means is there a book you can recommend but helps to learn how to look an art and learn? No, not really. I don't know. Your classes and romance help to open that word, but at the end makes sense, because you know when an artist is explaining you his point of view, then it's much easier to look through his eyes somehow, and that makes sense. This is like when I like to watch a series about chefs, you know, like Gordon Ramsay or Chicote in Spain, or well, many chefs, right? I don't remember names, unfortunately. But it's quite interesting when they explain things, because you can taste the flavors through their own explanations, and that's fantastic. So at the end, I'm trying to do the same as a painter or a sculptor. Indeed, we're going to do a streaming about sculpting very soon, probably this month. So stay tuned if you're part of this pledge, because it will be worth it for sure. And well, guys, this has been enough for today. I hope you have learned. I hope that if you have some questions or some comments, please take the time to write them in the comment box as soon as we upload the final video. Thank you for watching. We have been 22 spectators. It's much better than the last time, so thank you very much. We hope to grow. And same thing, I mean, if you want to support us, always a nice comment, or not nice, I mean, an honest comment about what are you seeing here on our work. It's always very helpful in social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Also tell your friends to subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are also doing some free streamings where also you can learn a lot, and they can learn a lot, and they can have an insight into what we're doing in the Patreon. Thanks for watching. It's been my pleasure to share some time with you. I hope this has been useful, and yeah, and Hans Reiner is recommending to take care of myself, and this is something that I will do. I hope I will survive to the next month, which is the release of the book, the Adepticon classes, the US tour, and then I will be done, and I will probably take one week of holiday if my partner David allow me to take the holidays. He also deserves, but I won't tell this. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. Bye bye. See you next time. Cheers. Bye. Cheers.